Well, so Supreme Commander of United Forces, I'm also the female king, and I got to be Supreme Commander of United Forces because of the engagement that happened in the eternal world between the Brotherhood and all existence effectively. Every warrior that's any good in the eternal world has come here and pledged their allegiance to me, and they're going to engage under my command. That's the reality, and we've got supreme beings lined up, ready to come down to this world, to the Earth sphere, impose on the reality of everyone. So you can't catch anyone here. But in the eternal world they can, because they can look into your reality. You've also got what they call behind you a record of existence, which records everything you've ever done, a record of existence. The Brotherhood know about that. And we can look through the record of existence, we can impose through their reality, and we can catch every rock spider, paedophile, child murderer, torturer, in all of existence, rapist, all those criminals we can catch, and all it's going to take is for United Forces to come down here and do it. I've given the orders, and we're just waiting for it to happen. So when after you see all of these people, all these criminals going into the confessionals and here on the mortal level, you'll know that United Forces have engaged, and you'll know that my command has finally come of age. And so that's the reality there. But how I got there, and the engages that happened, first of all, Masha Mill engaged on Earth, the ones here on Earth engaged against me, and how I got rid of them was my spiritual belief. I kept bearing my spiritual belief. They were surveilling me heavily, and they've got 7 deadly pincers, as I said in the other tape, and in those 7 pincers, they're all murderers. They're all murderers, and they can kill anyone that they want. And I had no hope against them, didn't have any prayer against them here. And so I vowed that I was going to take out my vengeance in the eternal world, when after I could get all of them, everyone that had done anything wrong to me down here, I was going to get them at the eternal world. That's where it all started 10 years ago, or 8 years ago now, back in 2818, Forest Avenue. That's where they engaged from the mortal plane, and I finally got rid of them. They were trying to get into my unit. I won't go too long into the unit business, because that was for 6 weeks I was holed out there under siege from these 7 deadly pincers. And I don't know too much about what happened from their side of the story, because that wasn't put to me. But in the eternal world, when we got to there, I shifted to 1515 Kathleen, and that was where the eternal world was going. And I was practicing to be judge of a higher order. The Spirit had been talking to me for about 10 years, and I was practicing to be the judge of the higher order, and I knew all about eternal law and how it worked, how you rule to the void nexus eternal. You stand up in the middle of the void, and whatever is your complaint, whoever so has done this, this and this, line up and die. The truth emanates, and so everyone that's guilty of those particular crimes lights up, and you round them all up, and you rack them all up, and you lay them all down dead forever. That's how it works in the eternal world, in the exalted spheres, and in the less exalted spheres where they don't know about that reality, because that reality is everywhere, and they don't know about that reality. So that's what they were doing. The Masha Mill were taking me from the ground, and the spirits were giving me all these different stories and different scenarios, what I was going to do, because they wanted to know what I was going to do up there in court, because it's all the law up there, what I was going to do, so that they knew where my weakness were, where my reality was not up to it, and they were going to engage and let me run through it, engage at that point, and get rid of me. Well, they can't get rid of me. They had to make sure no one asked for me, and they had to ask me. So 1515 Kathleen, the spirits started to come down and talk to me, a lot more of them, and they put a young group of girls through me that I call the youngest and swiftest. These girls, there were 6.5 million of them, and they were girls from the penguins. They incarnate the penguins down south, and the penguin girls, and they came to me, and they wanted to see me resurrected at the eternal level. The Brotherhood didn't want that to happen, and so the Brotherhood embarked on a quest to kill all of them, Lord Ruler orders. So they had a Lord Ruler, they had me, they had Tonchi Capel of Adelaide set up as Lord Ruler, and I didn't know anything about Lord Ruler. The Lord Ruler is Brotherhood apparently, but a king has to appoint a Lord Ruler, so they brought a king down, obviously to see whether or not I was kosher or not, because he hadn't appointed me Lord Ruler. I was claiming to be Lord Ruler in his territory, and that king, instead of killing me, made me Lord Ruler of the Earth sphere when I told him about the captive reality and the reality of all these females that are under siege on Earth from the Brotherhood, from the blind side, and that know that they can die, that they can be killed easy, know that they've got to do as they were told, and they make them do all sorts of things, and it's pretty horrible what these girls got to go through. And I'm here to tell them that their suffering is very close to coming to an end, and they'll be free a lot sooner than they think. And bearing in mind, there's been girls that have been under this siege for billions and billions and billions of years, and I think these ones will be happy to know that help is on the way. United Forces is coming, and that's how it is. We've had a few problems. I won't go into the problems now, but it should have happened already, but it hasn't. So the youngest and swiftest were engaging. They were against the Brotherhood, because the Brotherhood had Lord rule orders to kill a lot of them, and every time the Brotherhood started killing them all, they would revert back to me. I would give my orders, and they would reverse the result, and they would survive, and they survived. And in the end, I gave the order to engage in perceptible speed, fire as your guns bear, and fly through the cunts. And then I was told that the Interstellar Panel wanted to talk to me. There's an authority called the Interstellar Panel, and they wanted to talk to me, and they said, explain me imperceptible speed. And I said, imperceptible speed is when you're travelling too fast to see, and you can and they can't see you, and that's imperceptible speed. Well, you see, that is a blindside engage in the eternal world, and blindside engages are specifically and prohibitively illegal, completely illegal. But I gave the order for blindside engage without knowing, because but the Lord of the Void said that you cannot limit the engaged capacities of the Eternal Warrior. If they have the capacity to engage in perceptible speed, then do as you're told if you can't play there. And that's the reality. And so the Interstellar Panel took that and allowed imperceptible speed, and then the Brotherhood complained it was a blindside engage, and the female chairperson of the Interstellar Panel said, well, if you can't see which side they're coming from, if you can't see them, I don't even much give a fuck which side they come from either. And so that sorted out imperceptible speed. And that was with that youngest and swiftest one, the engage against the Brotherhood. And there was another appeal to the Brotherhood, from the Brotherhood, that they wanted the Brotherhood. We kept winning, we kept beating the Brotherhood, and they kept resurrecting, because in the eternal world, the resurrection is the reality. And when you get into the more exalted sphere, every time you die, you go to the next sphere, you go to the next sphere, you go to the next sphere. When you get to the last sphere, you realise there at that sphere that there is no person in this void ever that is alive that is not non-resurrectable. Every single person, mind that has ever been created in this void is alive and is resurrectable to its full form of glory, and they can resurrect here on earth. As hard as that is to believe, you can resurrect full bodies on earth. Like I said, we are just a small bolt of energy that's carried around by a girl from the civilization. See, although I'm a male, and I appear like a male, it's actually a female, and all the boys are all the same. It's a female that creates your body. You've got your mind, which is your conscious. You've got your subconscious, which comes from essence purity, from conscious energy, from our side of the line, and then you've got the body, your body and the flesh, and all the trees and the plants and all that sort of thing, and all those come from subconscious energies, and they can talk, they can speak English as a taught language, which is lucky because every sphere of all existence, there's only two spheres here. People believed, and then you were dead forever, and then there's cosmic element, and the little dust spoke up, and little dust got involved in the engage, and that was when you got to the eternal world. So youngest and swiftest won the engage, and because they were engaging in perceptible speed, the Brotherhood didn't want to play anymore, and they took off. The Supreme Beings came down. The Supreme Beings are birds. The Supreme Beings came down, unknown to me, and applied to the Interstellar Panel, because that's how they engage. They engage in perceptible speed. Normally it's illegal. Here, under my command, it's legal. And so the Supreme Beings came down to engage under my command because it's legal. And so that's what they decided. That's what they decided to do. And when I was first made a Supreme Being, I was made a Supreme Being. When I was first made a Supreme Being, I asked Grandmaster John from the Cosmic Element, who was talking to me at the time, well, the Supreme Being is very good. I was really proud too, because I thought I deserved the honour. But I said, does it give you any powers? I said, Tonchi, whatever your mind can conceive will become your reality, Supreme Being. and